Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Vic, and this is the printed copy of my first draft of a book series called The Dragon Blood. And this one I have finished in July and then printed out, and now I have been waiting until it is settled enough for me to start the read-through. This book is an epic political fantasy about dragons. The main political aspect of this is a queen waking up after 15 years of being gone and her council having kind of taken over, and now they don't want to give her the power back, and so she has to fight to get back into her position of power. And so that is all you need to know for now about the book, and let's dive into our agenda for today. As you have seen in the previous videos, this is not the actual start, and during September I have read and annotated the entirety of Act 1, but that means that I still have about 400 more pages to go for the month of October. And yes, I have started diving into that a little bit, and there is already kind of a big problem I am noticing with the structure of the book. So, if you look at it, Act 1 ends about here. That's way too little compared to the rest of the book. And then where I am here is where the midpoint starts. You see the issue here. The midpoint should be here, not here. And what I am thinking about later on making a structural decision and moving what is now midpoint as the end of Act 1. So Act 1 would actually end here, and then the rest would be the actual Act 2 with the actual political build-up. Because right now it just feels, I wouldn't even say pacing-wise strange. The pacing is actually somewhat okay when read chapter by chapter. It's that the overall structure of the book is not quite doing what it should. Hello, I will try to keep this update brief because I mysteriously developed a cough overnight, and so my voice is barely surviving. And so what I have done over this weekend is that I have read 11 chapters. Yeah, that's right. And over 100 something pages. So I have basically read through all of that would constitute the previous midpoint and got into what used to be Act 2 Part 2. And yeah, like in the Act 1, the issues were more on the writing level, that the descriptions, characterizations, and all of that technical stuff was simply not working, and so that need to be fixed. But the actual like plot and structure was fine. Like I couldn't very much see much scenes I could like delete or add or anything like that. But here, yeah, no, now I'm 100% convinced that what I thought was the midpoint is just the break into Act 2, and that what is happening after is a complete mess, in that the actions don't really make sense. Not that they don't make sense, but like some of them need to be reordered. There needs to be a lot more happening in there. And what I have reached is this like magical duel where the queen gets challenged into a fight to the death for the crown. And so like I could keep that the midpoint, but then I need to like build up to it in some sort of way, because now I am past the middle of the book, and so everything will happen like very fast, very underdeveloped, and so it doesn't have this like feeling of actual progression and success on her part on the political stuff. So yes, what is Act 2 now is a complete mess when it comes to structure and like jumping from point to point. And I knew it would be like that. I knew that when I was writing it, that I was mostly winging stuff and trying to connect point A from point B, even though I had an outline, but it wasn't like a really solid one. And so now I know what to fill in there. And so not seeing that in there is just taking me out a little bit. Like, I don't understand how this book is 140,000 words long, 500 and something pages. I am reaching the page 300 or something like that. And like I won't say that nothing happened, but like very little in terms of progression happens. Like, how is this underdeveloped plot wise when it's so long? How? Okay, I really am stressing my voice a little too much, and it can be probably heard, like it just got very raspy for no reason. And so I will leave this update here and dive back into the reading. Hopefully, it won't be as emotionally exhausting as it was over the weekend because everything that was happening in this section was very heavy, and so it was quite difficult to read. So, hello, it is now October 17th, so 10 days since the last update. As you can probably hear from my voice, things took a turn I was not expecting and I didn't like. So, the mysterious cough was more than a cough and turned out to be a full blown sickness that is going to keep me occupied for at least 2 weeks, if not more. I am currently somewhat okay, at least starting to be functional. It's funny because it's day 11. Wonderful. And so, life update, I guess, and even yapping about this will probably put the most strain on my voice, and I don't know if that's a good idea, but I have been silent for too long, and I need to get this out and stop putting my work aside and slipping by into more and more delay. So, yeah, last week I was completely sick. Absolutely, like coughing, sore throat, or fevers, all of that. Worst thing, the infection even got into my ear, so swallowing was difficult, speaking was painful, everything was painful, and I still have not slept this entire time because I have to sleep like a princess propped up on at least 3 pillows in almost a sitting position just to not choke at night. And still, my phone tells me in the morning that my breathing was dangerously low and to check if I'm okay. Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. I have not been this level of sick in at least 10 years. I am not a sickly person. My immune system is rather strong, and even if I get sick, I usually pass through it rather quickly. So this is rather unexpected, and I'm not happy about it at all. I did go to a doctor, and she said I have caught this new virus someone has brought in here from like Asia or somewhere, and so nobody has immune system to it. It spreads like wildfire. It's very nasty, and it takes at least 7 days of suffering before the body starts even getting and making the antidote. And so it takes 2 weeks to lay through it, and nothing can be done about it. Wonderful. So I have now skipped 2 weeks of my school. It's not great. I have been trying to keep up with my seminar assignments, but it was not easy because, as I said, it was like 8 days straight of quite horrific fever, and so I couldn't do much. And now I had to write to all of my teachers and say what was going on. Again, not happy about that. I don't like emailing teachers. I don't like doing paperwork. And why the hell does me getting sick involve doing paperwork? At least now I'm all caught up and I can function somewhat. And also, because I had nothing to do with my time and I was going quite insane because I have ADHD, I need movement to survive. And so not being able to move for this long makes me go not great. I had to figure out what to do with myself, and so I have binged the entirety of the Apothecary Diaries anime, and now it has become an integral part of my personality. My entire timelines on every single social media is about it. I have now watched every single breakthrough of it or reaction or over analysis that there is on YouTube, and I still cannot get more. So there is that. At least some fun coming out of this. But now it's time for me to at least get back into a normal swing of things. I am still not fully okay, but tomorrow we are going on this family celebration of my godmother, and so I have to be at least presentable. We will see how that goes. As you can hear, 5 minutes into me talking, I'm already struggling. We will see how I survive actual meeting with people. Well, I had to take an hour and a half break in recording because my voice failed. I started choking to tears and just couldn't do anything. So here we are again. So what was I saying is that the thing that pisses me off the most about this whole situation, besides being sick, is the fact that my horse is rather neglected. I have seen him the day before I got sick. Then I have seen him last Saturday, and then got promptly more sick because I didn't judge it properly. And now it's Friday of week 2, and I still haven't seen him. And so I really need to go check up on him tomorrow, hopefully. Well, nothing can be done about that. I just hope he can forgive me. Anyway, actual writing update, because that's what all this yapping was actually building up for. So I have reached chapter 39 in my read through, which is the end of Act 2, and I have thoughts. I am not sure if I mentioned this in the last update or not, but I have found one point in what I was reading right now that could serve as the new midpoint if it was built up to it better, and then it was made more important, and the fallout from that was made more strong. But at least that gives me ideas and hopes that some of the building blocks are at least in there and usable. But the biggest issue with Act 2 is that, yeah, it is messy. It is the longest of the book, and yet it both feels like nothing is happening and like too much is happening. I don't even know how to explain that. Part of the reason is the prose being a bit empty, I would say, like very shallow, and things are skimmed over and it moves really fast. That makes this whole thing read weird because, like, yes, a lot of stuff is happening. There is plot point after plot point and it moves really fast, but it also doesn't feel like it. I don't know. It needs both restructuring and improvement on, like, characters having actual thoughts about what is going on and adding descriptions so that the scenes actually have weight. Who would have thought? I think that's the whole vibe, motto of this read through. Characters are not thinking, there are no descriptions, and so everything reads like it was written by a middle schooler. So there is that. Not particularly happy about that, but also I have read some of the chapters and some of the scenes that were actually really good, and not just good, but like did what they were supposed to do and even shocked me in some capacity. And so I'm happy about that. But as I said, it doesn't undo the fact that I have spent, what, a year writing just Act 2. There is so much of it, but the actual political build-up is not really there. So much more meat and dimensions need to be added. Besides the making what's currently the midpoint, the break into Act 2 and making a new point of the midpoint. Yeah, does that make sense? I hope so. I wonder what Act 3 is going to be like, since that was written entirely this year. I basically finished writing Act 2 December 31st, no, January 2nd or something like that, and so now I'm diving into Act 3, which I have written over the course of this year. And so even the writing should be different, and hopefully the structure and the plot will be more tight. I really don't understand how this book is 500 pages, 140,000 words, and it still reads like it's incredibly underwritten. What is going on in here? Suffice to say, I will have a lot of work in draft 2 trying to fix all of this. What pisses me off at least a little bit about the reverse outline is how long it took me to actually start doing this. Like, if I was a little bit smarter, I would have set this up when I have started the read through and then filled out my notes of the read through directly after I am done reading each scene while it's still fresh in my mind. And then I wouldn't have to fill up 39 chapters in a row on basically memories of what I was thinking about the chapter, because I have been just scanning them a little bit and not fully diving into them. I don't have the time to reread everything twice. So that pisses me off a little bit, but if I was even more smart, I would have set this up when I started draft 1. I do not mean by like normal outline. I do have a normal outline, but filling out the, like, at least the synopsis of what is going on in each chapter and each scene, and so that way I would know what was going on in my mind as I was writing it, and then I could only fill out the notes after I was done rereading it. So it would have been much more accurate, and it would take maybe 5 minutes after finishing writing the chapter, and then maybe 3 minutes after finishing reading the chapter, and not having to fill out every individual chapter, and that taking me at least 20 minutes to figure out what was going on and what I was thinking, what are the intentions here and all that. And it's just like a lot of work all at once. And it could have been avoided if I was smarter. But I was not smart, and so now here we are. And at least I know what to do in draft 2 and future books. So lesson learned, I guess. And this brings me to my current fear about draft 2, because this book is so damn complex that the reverse outline is supposed to make it more clear and make a bigger picture. But even that is complex enough that I am getting lost in it a little bit. So redoing the outline and replotting this and fixing everything according to my notes will be a daunting task. And that's just making the plan. Actually fixing it on the page will be a battle. Oh no. But I should have known this when I decided to write political epic fantasy series. So here we are, consequences of my choices. The other thing I have started working on during my sickness is basically the reverse outline of draft 1. So as you can see, I have so far filled out 19 of the chapters, and I have taken this specific Excel sheet from
I think it was Heartbreaking. She had it on her website, so check out that if you are interested in this. It's very useful. And basically, what I have here is the chapter broken down into scenes, that into status, what character it is, but that you can see also from the colors because I color coded it fully to better see. Story beats, which is not as great for me because I don't use typical structure. We have what is going on in the scene, what are the character goals, the conflicts, what happens as the outcome of the scene, the subplots, which this is what's actually interesting for me the most, a little bit of the character arc, and also I have been moving all my notes from the read through here, and this is also useful because I have just by filling this out, not even analyzing it, just filling it out, figured out other structural issues going on. Like, for example, in Act 1, if I am just scrolling, you can see just how much overwhelmingly we have scenes from Peter's point of view and how little we have Aurora. Actually, here there are more scenes from Aurora, but still they are very rare and we need to be there a little more. I understand in Act 1 we are building a little bit of intrigue of who Aurora is, but this is too much. And also, like, how to even explain this? So, like, I feel like sometimes the chapters themselves are a little bit arbitrary in like where they are divided, especially this one. Like, so much is going on in the scenes that they are divided or collected into chapters a little too loosely. Like, yeah, I have like 54 chapters currently in draft 1, but that number will likely have to change a lot in draft 2, and that's the other reason why I have filled this out by scenes, especially because I somewhat already knew that the chapters will be reorganized once I am doing the rewrite.
Okay, here we have an actual working update instead of summarizing what happened. And so, what I have done tonight is that I have filled out in the reverse outline all the lines with the chapters and scenes, just like chapter whatever, scene whatever. So when I go fill it out, it will be a little bit easier, and I have like all this already here. But this just comes to show just how on vibes I divide chapters, because look at this. There is like, okay, one scene in this chapter, there are two, four, and like, okay, this is fine. Sometimes there is the chapter with just one scene, but then you come down here. We have two chapters with one scene. We have 5 scenes. We have 7, then a little bit of normal, and then we have a chapter with 12 scenes. 12. What the hell is going on here? How? Okay, actually, I do know what's going on here. This is the final battle chapter in the climax, so it makes sense. But god damn it, that should have been divided into at least 2. That is too much. Sunday update, I have managed to read 5 chapters and actually log them into my reverse outline. Yes, it was a pretty nice update. It takes 50 minutes to read one chapter, so that's not great. But I feel like just these 5 chapters are quite enough for now, because they are basically the depressive part, the lowest part, where all of the main characters have completely given up. And so it was a lot to read through at once. And it works on me because I'm the author and I feel for the characters. I'm not sure it would work for the readers, but it's the first draft, it doesn't matter. So these chapters are interesting because like half of them was dictated, and you can tell because I cannot decipher some of the sentences at all. What was the dictation doing? I have no idea. And also they are very wordy and yet very rushed. Like it's dialogue, 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 and nothing in between. So that needs a fleshing out pass at least. But I sort of like the philosophical debates that are happening in these parts, like the one about the monarchy and the council, like if it's even worth it to have a ruler at all. And then the one about what is the meaning of being a dragon, and the whole part about like if it is violent or if it's the protection and duty that dragons live by. That's very interesting. But again, I like the ideas. I don't like the delivery. The delivery needs to be fixed so it's not so preachy and on the nose. But yeah, that can be fixed. At least I am happy with like the conceptual side of this character is solid, even if it's not very well written. Not very well written. Well, that's a strange way to put it, considering these chapters are from January or February, so they are approaching my current way of writing, and so they are not bad. But again, they were dictated, so they are not at like the full height of attention put into the writing. Either way, I have 100 pages left of the book, 120, and so if I put actual effort into this, I might be done with the read through in the next 2 days, 3 maybe. Depends because now it's Sunday, but I need to start getting back to doing the schoolwork and my assignments as I am actually returning to class next week, and so I shouldn't be spending all of my time on just reading my projects, and I should actually do the work that I'm supposed to do. We will see how that one goes. And that's all the update for today.
Well, hello, it is Tuesday today, and so yesterday I have read 3 chapters, which means I have 9 chapters left and about 80 pages until the end of the book. And like, where is the ending? Seriously, at this point we should be heading into the climax, and it's still not happening for like 2 or 3 more chapters. So now we have a problem that even though already Act 2 is very long, and I thought that Act 3 was normal size, no, it feels way too short. Like, I won't even say rushed. It's like not enough is happening, and like, yes, the pressure is building, but not enough? I don't know. Just so weird. I guess I need to actually finish reading the ending to know, but I guess we will see today. Well, hello. So far I have read 3 chapters today, so that puts me at chapter 51 and 5 chapters left to read. And like, I could do it today, but also it's kind of getting late already. It's like 3 p.m. and I need to go. Well, hello. I have this much of the book left, so maybe 40-ish pages. And like, as you can see, only here is where the climax actually starts. And I have read 3 chapters today and have 5 chapters left. And like, I have thoughts. I have thoughts about what is going on in here, but I don't know if I can put them into words. And that's kind of an issue because I know there is something going wrong, but I cannot fully put my finger on it yet and like figure out how to fix it. It's not great. Anyway, I could get the last 5 chapters and the last 60-ish pages finished today,
Also, it's about 3 p.m. and I should start getting stuff done because I am finally not feeling fully sick. No, great, it's been 16 days and today is the first day I feel okay. Today is also the last day of my medication, and so I need to go take care of the horse, but also my car is at the mechanic and I'm waiting for him to deliver it back and it's still not happening, so we shall see how it goes. I have maybe 10 more minutes of waiting. If it doesn't get here by 10, I need to take my mother's car and go do it. And then I have some school stuff to prepare for since tomorrow I'm returning to my classes. So I could read those 5 chapters. Question is how realistic that is with all the other stuff that I need to do. I guess there is only one way to find out. Well, hello there. This is sort of a semi-final update because this is 3 chapters away from being finished reading, which means I have the final battle, the aftermath, and the epilogue left. And like, I cannot believe we got this far. It has been almost 2 months and it's almost done. How is that possible? So now is the time to get it done and finished reading. Well, here we are. The book is finished and read, and it only took 12 hours over 40 days. Yay! Hello and welcome to the bookshelf. So this has been now read and can be introduced back to the bookshelf. So, what are my thoughts? I am kind of shocked that I have actually read all of this and that it actually sort of reads like a book. Like, it's not perfect, of course, but it's not horribly bad either. So that's good. But despite me seeing a lot of good things in this, there are a lot of problems, and not all of them I can currently pinpoint completely, like what is actually wrong in here. I can say that there is a lot of problems with lacking descriptions or like characterizations not being proper or internal thoughts of the characters missing. So like on-page stuff, it's not as fleshed out as it could be, which is why I count myself as an underwriter, because despite this being 500 pages, a lot of it is very underwritten on a scene level. But also, there are structural issues which I'm more scared of fixing, like Act 1 is a little too short and ends where it shouldn't, so it needs to be lengthened to what I thought was the midpoint. That should be the end of Act 1, which then means that Act 2 needs to be completely structured and more fleshed out because it feels sort of rushed. Like a lot of things are happening, but they don't have as much weight on the plot, and there is, I wouldn't say it's lacking progression, but it sort of feels like it's not building enough. And so then there is another issue with Act 3 where the second half of it feels too rushed for sure. Like the whole ending and the final battle happens too fast and I wouldn't say out of nowhere, but sort of. So that needs to be fixed. But that is for another time. For now, this one is done and can go back here. And that ends this reading vlog, and I hope you have enjoyed.